Welcome, welcome. It's Vanessa Satten, editor-in-chief, XXL. We're here, Moments of Clarity podcast. Rahman is back. He's a daddy
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Shah's here. He was here
Yes.
last week, so
Yes.
we know what's
Not
going on.
not a daddy until the court papers.
To the court papers, and JFK's out sick, so no JFK today. Get better soon. All right, it's kind of a slow week. Now, biggest thing I think that last week into this week is all the Kanye stuff, right? So Kanye had an album coming out. Who knows when? It was supposed to come Friday. That wasn't happening. It's supposed to come Sunday. That wasn't happening. And here we are on the end of the next week. Nope, he's not here. No album. You think the album's coming out? You guys went to church and saw him, right? In Queens?
Yeah. We
Am I
went
making
to
that up?
church. We went to the
Yep.
listening.
I had to stop the church from falling down when Sha walked in. The Lord almost struck it down.
Like you see the scene in Vampire in Brooklyn when Eddie Murphy walked in the church and everybody his head starts setting on fire and all of that. Nah, it was Allen AME Church in Queens. Big up to that Reverend Floyd Flake and the whole church family. That's a church that I've been going to for years.
Right, so
Ramon
did
has
you
been
know
to.
that he was going to be there, or
No.
you just attend on Sunday in general?
No. I got a text about I was half asleep too. I got a text like about 7:30 in the morning on Sunday, and I actually thought it was my aunt because she goes to the 8 o'clock service, and I'm like, why is she texting me the address to the church? I thought it was my aunt, who's we call aunt. And
I like my aunt, who we call aunt.
yeah. Oddly enough, her uncle, her husband, we call him uncle. His name is uncle. But yeah, so when I woke up, like maybe a couple of hours later, I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's consequence. It was hitting me and told me that Kanye was doing his thing. So I hit Ramon. I was like, yo, we got to go to Allen. I'm still out in Queens, so it's wasn't too difficult getting over there, and people didn't know. People kind of found out. A couple of the people at the church knew. Allen, like the choir and everybody knew probably the night before, but a lot of the congregation didn't know. My cousin Lynette, she was like, man, they could have told us, because she had a 1:00 p.m. church meeting that got pushed back to about 4:00. So she wasn't too pleased with that. She enjoyed the choir, but she wasn't too pleased about them pushing the church meeting back. And, I came in and, you see the regular people that go to the church, and then you start seeing the Kanye fans slowly coming in like around 12 o'clock, 12:30. So there was this guy, I was telling Ramon, and we saw him that night. He had on like a full...
The listening party was that night, right?
Yeah,
We had
yeah.
Stapco, yeah.
But in church, the guy had on like a full Chicago Bulls basketball uniform, the basketball shorts, the jersey, the Jordan. Well, I think he had on Yeezys. He didn't have on Jordans, but he had on his Chicago thing, and then he had a suit jacket on over it. So I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a Kanye fan. He was bringing out a lot of eclectic people. And it was packed. It felt like, if anybody knows Allen, it's a huge cathedral. They had Jam Master Jay's funeral there. They had Justo, the legendary.
Mixtape.
Yeah. Justo's funeral was there, and Chink's funeral was there too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a huge
That
church.
is a huge church, yeah. I was at the Chinks funeral. That is a huge church.
Yeah, so you see Swiss Beats and Kim Kardashian coming in with Consequence and the whole family. Cool J was there. Rick Fox, basketball legend, was there, oddly enough. And, people, it filled up. It filled up.
And what happened? He
Well,
performed? What happened? What did he say? Is he nuts? Does he nutty act?
No.
What is it?
No, he
comes in and he's got nothing but neutral colors on.
No, he was super cool. It felt like the regular Kanye.
Yeah,
like,
the regular Kanye.
Yeah.
He can't act like that up in
Yeah.
not out in Queens and not in that church.
It's a very,
you gotta
very
be on
real,
point.
yeah, very real congregation there. And I was standing upstairs because I wanted to see everything. If you sit on the floor or the seats in the floor, you could still see, but I just wanted to see everything from a bird's eye view. And oddly enough, I was standing there, and there was the church. They gave the regular church service, and then Kanye's choir came in, and then all of a sudden Kanye just comes at the top of the church. He comes in and he's walking past the people, and everybody is like all mystified and shocked because he's actually walking in the crowd, and he eventually made his way down, and he really let the choir do a lot of their thing. Like his Sunday service choir is magnificent. They was singing, flipping some of his songs, like they did Father Stretch My Hands, and obviously on when I put the footage on my Green Lantern was like, I wanted to hear the verse. Like, you can't hear that verse in church from Father Stretch My Hands about the girl and the bleach.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's
bleached assholes?
dope.
Yeah, you can't hear that one in church.
Yeah, it's dope. I think that, I've definitely been giving Kanye a little bit of a hard time probably for the past year for his off the mic antics.
The MAGA hat.
Right.
MAGA hat.
You mean his endorsements of Donald Trump?
1,000,000%.
Yeah, definitely. And but it was real dope to see him come out to Queens. Like, I got to wake up in the morning and bring my son to church.
Mm-hmm.
in his hood, and he go see Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that was really dope. I thought Kanye, for the fact that he did that, and shout out to Consequence, because I know Consequence had a lot, to do to like really push that forward. Later on that night, we got to go to the listening party, and it was just really, which it was a very big like contrast between what happened in the morning and what happened at night.
Right.
And at the end of the day was just really trying to understand like what's his purpose, like what's his mission. Like I saw that, he said that he's really gonna focus on just the gospel stuff. Now again, like I said this a couple weeks ago, like, I'm God body by a law, but before that, like I grew up in a church. You know what I'm saying? Like an AME church. I've been to all AME churches like all across this world. Like, we don't play with that religion. My parents still go there. All my family. Like, it's a very real thing. So it's like, this can't be like no publicity stunt, nothing like that. Like, you got to be serious about it. And if he's serious, then that's all good. You know what I'm saying?
So people walked out, or no people walked out? I mean, that was the feedback.
In church?
In church, not at the listening party. But he's getting a lot of negativity from, and this is not my expertise, but real Christians, allegedly.
Right.
That's the feedback, that this is a bunch of bull, that they're using religion for whatever they are in this case, that he's selling shoes off of it. He's selling shirts and hoodies off of it. They're selling Skims off of it. They're selling her gardenia candles off of it.
He addresses that on the new album. He definitely addresses that on the new album. But, in church, it wasn't like, I don't think it was people that was walking out because they were upset. Maybe some people were upset, but you got to realize that they waited until after the church service was done.
Okay, so they did have a traditional church.
Yeah, they had a traditional.
Like part two, the Kanye
he
stuff.
did. Right. Yeah, he didn't hijack the church service. I think that's what some people were thinking. Like, he didn't, he didn't hijack. Yeah. They had an entire church service, and afterwards, the choir came in. They also brought in another minister from California. I guess he does church service out there. I guess that's where Kanye found the choir. And he said a few words. The choir keeps getting bigger and bigger. They're like, oh, it's an 80-person choir. Oh, it's a 90-person choir.
And the other thing too, like part of the reason why I point out, like just my personal, which I'm sure a lot of people can, they have their own experiences. Like when we was, back in the days when we was growing up in church, like it was like you had to dress up, you had to wear dress shirts, dress pants, suit, shoes, whatever. Over the course of the years, probably like the past like 10, 15 years, like it's become cool. Like you can go to a church with your Timbs on, and you know what I'm saying? You can go with a hat on or a hoodie on or whatever. So they've acknowledged more of like what the community is, and something like what Kanye was doing was cool. I mean, hey, there's preachers who ride around in jets, in private jets, so I don't think that. And when I was leaving, craziest thing I even tell you, I seen the church selling DVDs of their own. You know what I'm saying?
Merch, yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, like, they got to make money. Like, that church is like very prestigious. It's a business at the same time too.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a good look that Kanye like acknowledged that like out of all the churches, you know, in the boroughs, like I personally thought it was dope. They came out to Queens.
Kirk Franklin had a big listening party there for his current album that's out before it came out a few months back, and even Tashina Arnold from Martin had a big show there. So, you know, Allen is definitely getting out there, being known as one of the great places to come and perform, you know, some of the music for the Lord. But during the church, I think I enjoyed myself. I was around a lot of people that enjoyed themselves. It was a little weird having your camera phone out in church, recording and taking pictures.
Are you kidding me?
That's a little weird. I gotta say that I had to document it. I had my phone out, and I know Kanye says on the record, next time I'm in church, please no photos. But I don't think he was talking about bringing his choir there. So I think a few people were turned off by that. I know a few people in the church were turned off by how many people had their phones out. Even, you know, some of the deacons, some of the people that work for the church had their phones. But, you know, at the same time, it's a historic moment. Like, when's the
Did
next?
it make you care about the album? Do you care about the project?
Well, he didn't perform anything from the album.
Right, but it is promo for the album,
Yeah,
right? It's all promo moves for it. So he didn't perform the album, so you could have your phone out. The listening party had the album, so you couldn't have your phones out, right?
Right.
So it's still all promo. So does it make you excited about a Kanye project, or are we literally like, this is another Kanye stunt, a la a fashion show, a la a trip to Wyoming, that kind of stuff?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to understand the connection. Like, you know, I've been, you know, keeping track of the whole Sunday service movement that he's been doing, and then actually going there, it was like, okay, cool. This is the one thing what he's doing. And then you go to an album release party later that night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it felt like a traditional, like, industry event. Like, Kanye album, you know, the substance was definitely entertaining, but it just seemed like night and day. Like, with those, I couldn't really draw the connection between the two.
But the album isn't gospel album, right?
It's gospel.
It's the intention.
It is, because I'm confused.
But it has a hip hop feel, though.
I'm not doing secular music anymore, right? I mean, I'm only doing secular music. What did he say?
Well, he didn't say that at the thing we went to in Chicago when he did his listening in Chicago the previous night. It was reported, you know, our guy Andrew Barber, Fake Short Drive, reported on Twitter that he said that he wasn't going to do any more secular music. This album, Jesus is King, it definitely, well, he started off by saying that when they did the Sunday service at Coachella, he wasn't saved, he wasn't fully giving himself to the Lord. So
are you buying that that's what's going on now? He's saved and he's giving himself to the Lord?
I think Kanye came at such a,
You don't.
I felt like he was in such a just such a storm in his life. Like, even the stuff when you know, when he went to see Donald Trump, it just looked like he was a little off. And I think he's been in such a tumultuous time. Yeah, he's married, and, you know, him and his wife seem to have a great relationship, and he has these beautiful kids that I know he loves. But it just seemed that a lot was just going on with him, and a lot was weighing on him. I don't think he's, you know, fully recovered from losing his mom, and, you know, he got rid of a lot of his inner circle for a long time. So it was good to see somebody like Consequence, a real guy, you know, a real guy from the neighborhood.
When I think of church,
come back.
I think of do-gooding. I think of feeding homeless. I think of, you know, helping people out. I think of stuff that involves being bigger than yourself and doing good for people. And I don't feel like that resonates with the Sunday service thing. Do you? I mean, with the message that to me comes from a lot of the religious side of things, I don't know if that resonates beyond having a big choir over there and talking about God, which what I seems. I mean, Kim is on Twitter saying, have faith that the album will come out. Well, the album's not coming out. We all knew it wasn't coming out last week, but we're literally watching her tweet about having faith. It just seems like there's something so bizarre about it all being mixed together for us to buy $200 hoodies. I mean, I don't know. I'm very conflicted by the whole thing because, like, it seems like, where's the goodness?
Yeah, I mean, you know, time is exactly time is going to tell, you know, and when I gave him the benefit of the doubt when we was listening to the music that night, and I was like, I really gotta listen to this again. There was maybe about 2-3 tracks that was very reminiscent of like that signature
Kanye
Because
Yeah.
we're all waiting for Jesus Walks again, right? Isn't that
Well,
what it is?
some of them was just like not even Jesus Walks, like just like regular like Kanye bangers.
Yeah, he had some
you know.
bangers on there.
And I was like, all right, cool.
He definitely came with a couple where the crowd was just rocking like, oh man. It just felt like college dropout Kanye.
It was. I'll tell you, that energy was crazy in there.
But you're also dealing with a shitload of bizarre fans who
Yeah,
are going
the
the extra
shit that-
level to get up.
We was
and go to a
getting
church
beat
they never
up,
would go
and
to.
people was
Yeah.
jumping
there
over
was
our
a
fucking
girl.
chairs.
There was,
Like the Kanye fans are at another level. The real
there's
stan
it's
fans.
another
Yeah,
level
it's
of
some
fan.
weird shit.
There was a girl that was literally jumping from chair to chair, like jumping on the top of the chair like that, and just so happened, guess whose luck it was, where she would fall and get her legs stuck in the chair. But this man's chair right here, we standing up. Thank God he was standing up, listening to the music. But she tried to leap and she fell and she was caught.
It wasn't a good look.
Yeah, it was bad. Lost her shoe and everything. But
so he's built in a fan base.
Yeah.
Like,
and they also love his sneakers.
Right. There's nothing like he's good. He's set. Like regardless, however, we're gonna sit here and critique his art however we see it fit, but he has like an audience built in that they are just never gonna leave him.
Yeah.
They're very supportive of him, and I thought that was good, and it was definitely like really fascinating, to see all that stuff. And the one thing I will give him, I need to sit with it a little bit more myself, but he definitely took some time to be creative with that project. There was a lot of shit that what I heard that like it just doesn't sound like anything else that's out now.
Right.
From the music and like, how you put the entire like composition together.
he didn't just
like,
slap
the
this one
lyrics.
together.
Yeah, he took it. He definitely put some thought.
Right.
Some thought.
It's
into
not
it.
even done, right?
He took
was
it
still
serious.
recording it.
Well, when
It finished. It felt like a finished project.
when we spoke the
I feel like College
consequence.
Dropout probably isn't even finished. Like he would go back and tweak
Right.
that, you know?
Right. You're right.
This is the thing I was saying. Kanye, when it comes to releasing albums, he's like one of the, for a record label, he's probably the most dangerous artist to have in this day and age of streaming time, because it's not like, all right, we have to really set a strict deadline to put out an album. Like back in the days, you had to have the album done at a certain point.
You had to have a single. You had to have a video. You had to have a this. I mean, there's no rules here when you're performing it at a church and then at a party and then at a this and then at a that. I mean, the rules are gone.
And then for physical too, you had to turn it in so they could actually manufacture the CDs, to get it out. But this digital age, when you could just really drop it off at a whim, 3-4 hours, you could get it out to everybody. He's a dangerous guy. When we talked to Consequence outside the church, they was going to the studio right then to finish some stuff up. They was coming from the church right to the studio. So
you guys are with it. You guys are on the bandwagon. You're with it for the project.
I wouldn't say the bandwagon. I won't say the bandwagon.
My thing is, I felt like he diverted into this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he did Jesus Walk, so there was like flashes of like, this emotion and like where he wanted to accept this part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's going like full throttle now kind of felt like a response to certain things where he's gotten like this mountain of criticism that he's one of those guys. Like somebody made a good point, like him and Donald Trump, what they got in common is they don't really deal with criticism too well. You're a popular figure. You can't respond to every single thing what people say or whatever. So I feel like this was more of a response to that. It might have always been within him, and it had to be a little bit because you can't make dope music. Like the shit was dope. Like the music was dope. But
he's also a father of 4 and a husband. Like that
Right.
had to have changed him at some point.
Right.
And we haven't really seen that so much in his art over the past few years, or if you rewind over time, like him being changed by all of the change in his personal life. I mean, maybe now that's where we've hit, is that he's become this different person because so much has happened to him, because he's grown up, because
I
he's
feel like he
But
can't
stabilized and things.
This is
on,
me.
on one side, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it seems like he's forgiving or whatever, but then you have some shit like, oh, I'm gonna put my album out on such and such time, and you don't do it, and you kind of like play with the fans' emotion, knowing that they waiting for it.
Well, they're
But
buying
it's like,
it. They're
I
buying
can-
the hoodie and the digital download.
Right,
They're
but
waiting
it's
for it.
right,
that's
but
what-
it's like
that's what Kanye
throwing your weight
does.
around. Like,
Yeah.
I know what I could do. That goes back to the typical rapper mentality.
Right.
So you're undermining your other efforts, what makes it seem like you're just so appreciative. Now.
Right. I got you.
That's really.
But I mean, a lot of people are late with this stuff, man. It's rappers,
Don't
man.
say it. You ain't gotta say it. Like, just.
But
do the
he's
shit.
just
Put the
he's
shit
just
out
a
when it's
You
done.
tweet, have faith. It's coming.
He's just such a perfectionist, though. Like this is a guy who mixed Love Lockdown, I think about 18 to 19 times, like mixed and mastered Love Lockdown 18
So it is
to
the same
19
person.
times.
You know what I mean? Like, he's changed. It's
That's
growth.
what- that's what-
goes back to the same
that's
person,
what-
like you're saying.
that's-
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
I think he's evolved. I mean, yeah, he's still a part of himself. But for me, I just see where it just looks like to me he hit rock bottom at a certain point with everything that was going on.
I think it might have been the TMZ moment.
The TMZ moment,
That
that
was
was definitely one of his worst hours. Him going on with Trump at the White House. The
Yeah.
TMZ moment, that was bad. And I mean, a lot of times, man, when people
We stopped wearing the MAGA hat, right?
thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Saturday Night Live thing when he was on there said people trying to bully me, and it just was bad. It was just like, what are you doing? And I'm hoping that it was the people that he has in his circle. Like I said, real guys, Consequence, John Monopoly, somebody people that were there with him from the very, very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And have a vested interest in him, not just as a cash cow, but personally, like they really have genuine
person,
love for
right.
a guy. Because
Who clearly needs
he
that
got rid of
support from
rid
people,
of a lot of those people, and once you get rid of your day ones, it's trouble. You see Jay-Z always got Tata, and a lot of the people he came up with. Shaka Pilgrim, and all of those people, and it's hard when you give up your day ones, and I just feel like he just came to a certain point where he hit rock bottom. But because even like when he talked to the crowd at the listening, he wasn't really arrogant. He was sure of himself, but he wasn't really arrogant. He was really calm, and he has an IMAX movie to accompany this where it was strange, to say the least. It was the IMAX movie.
Strange.
Yeah.
Lots of nature.
Yeah,
But he's living in Wyoming.
But the thing is,
Pretty-
I just really,
Pretty nature heavy out there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it shows.
I went back out there after the first trip. I was like, I got to go back to Wyoming. This is beautiful.
I've never
Kanye's
been. I
definitely
gotta-
for
I gotta
sharing
check it out.
Wyoming with
Word.
me.
I'm like, I need to go take a trip now.
It's
Yeah.
definitely worth going to. It's definitely beautiful out there, and that's something that we got to experience because of him. Of him feeling to go out there. So, all right, so we got to switch.
I think
topics,
people
but
before we
Yeah.
go off in close, I think people are gonna enjoy the album.
They definitely
what's
will.
your ETA? What's the timeline? When's it coming?
I mean, Travis is coming this week, right? You see
I think
Travis
it's gonna-
Scott.
I think it's gonna come out.
Him and
before the end of
Travis
this
come out
weekend.
together.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come out for the end of the week. And shout out to Kanye. Like, hey, we tell it how it is. He can never really take it the wrong way because I'm sure he respects I know he respects our opinion. But being a creative, like he definitely put a lot of effort, into this project.
He got the
and
clips on there
it was
together.
Cool to see it. Yeah, he got the clips.
He got
together.
the clips and Kenny G.
Closes out the album. That's pretty big. That was pretty amazing to see that happen.
It doesn't feel that amazing to me.
I like the
You got
clips.
the guy and his brother. The brother who kind of retired a bit to get into religion, right? Because he had a more religious side to him.
Malice won't get on a record with damn near anybody right now, even like Pusha, like, and let it come out. So he had, I would love to see what that conversation had to be like.
Yeah.
It just felt good to hear Malice and Push.
It was definitely great to hear
again.
them together and hear, and all the talks of like that they just how excited everybody was. Malice and Push on the same song, blah blah blah. What Twitter's talking about and all of it, and it excited people, but it didn't blow me away as like
He has a great
it
record
was
with
a good
Ty
song.
Dolla $ign too. I think it's called Nobody's Body or something like that. I don't remember the titles. They didn't let us use our phone and take notes, and I didn't write anything down. Chris Rock was in the building, but I really love the song with him and Ty Dolla.
Okay, so we'll see if it comes out. We'll see if we're talking about it next week and how good it is. Or are we talking about is it coming next week or what it is? But you're not really sure. We'll see. All right, next thing that happened this week: Shaq and Dame.
That was fun.
Dame Dollar, Dame Lillard, and Shaquille O'Neal going back.
That was fun, man. Like we have a group text with it's me, Rahman, it's my brother Ari, it's his son Rasan, and one of our friends Brendan Cool Will See. And we was talking about it going back and forth. First of all, Shaq was hilarious. Like when you saw the YouTube of just the big old ghetto boombox, the radio Raheem days, and then a Muppet of Shaq rapping. It was funny, but
Shaq is, yeah.
But Shaq has some lines in there, and
he always has, right?
Yeah,
he's always had some lines.
Shaq could actually rap, man. He has fun with it, and obviously, people it's hard to digest a guy who's 7'2" and a basketball superstar rapping. But if you see some of the stuff on Instagram where Shaq is just freestyling off the top of the head, this is a guy who actually has made records with the RZA and Method Man and Biggie. Like they
some
actually,
of their best records. On top of
yeah,
that.
Biggie gave him some verses.
Yeah.
Boy. Biggie gave him some. He wasn't playing. And Meth too. So, I love what Shaq did. It was like Shaq is the Clint Eastwood, the old gunslinger who feels disrespected. He got to go out for revenge. Dame is the new sheriff in town. He's coming for his respect, and they just got to meet in the center of town. They got to meet at the OK Corral, guns blazing. I love that Dame came back. He said it took him a day to make the record, so they really treating this like a real rap situation. Shaq was funny. Cause we love the diss records that have the humor into it, aka a back to back. But then Dame, he was on his hardcore, like he's on the serious, like he wants to really be taken serious as a rapper. I think.
Yeah. We just did an interview with him. He definitely wants to be taken seriously as a rapper.
Yeah.
And you spent some. You was in his hood.
Yeah,
about a month ago.
Yeah,
right?
I went out to Portland and. He did a record with this young lady called Wynn. That's a really dope MC coming up from out there, and some of the other, Portland got a lot of like dope rappers. Like when I went out to Portland, it really felt like Detroit,
right?
A little bit, because how Detroit is just in that culture of just like really being MCs,
yeah.
like underground. Not worrying about the glitz and the glamour, just really getting to the lyrics, different styles, and that's what a lot of the great people in Portland felt like, and I was shocked. I was like, okay. And Dame is holding his own with all of those guys. They got the street legends out there and the up and comers, and Dame is holding his own. So I love it. I'm a battle rap connoisseur, aficionado. I love it, and let's see if it get around too.
Yeah, it's fun. Dame is obviously a competitor on and off the court.
Because I felt like one was having fun and one was more serious.
Yeah, he had an incredible year. And the fact that he's, going at Shaq is like, that's pretty hilarious, because it's obvious. It's like it's actually like what, two different generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe two generations. Maybe like not one generation, but two generations.
Two generations move. Yeah.
And Shaq to me has done like a really like he was in the news like even before that when he was talking about the whole criticism with him and Kobe and the rings and all that other shit. But it's like Shaq has always he's stood the test of time. Like there's not that many guys who can put the ball down, you know what I'm saying? Like leave the sport and still remain like really relevant. Like if you look at something with the show they have on TNT, like, that show's up and running for like a couple of years. He comes on the first year. Like he's the most colorful character on there,
right.
And there's all these different elements that he's bringing to it. So I'm sure that he acknowledged, like deep down inside, he's only even responding because he respects Dame as a real MC, which he's actually a really good
he can really rap.
MC. Like it's like no game. So that's dope that it's getting that type of attention to it.
We just took Dame up to Sedgwick and Cedar and the park up there and the whole birth of hip hop and everything. Did an interview and video up there with him and tried to get Cool Herc to come out, but they missed each other. But did some stuff. It was a pretty cool thing, and he's dead set on being a rapper and then being a basketball player and juggling both. And he was talking real honestly about the struggle of kind of being taken seriously. Being taken seriously in both sides of it and stuff. But I think his raps show that he's serious.
Yeah, he could do it. It's funny. I was talking to my brother Ari about this. I was like, rap and the NBA have come such a long way. Because remember when Allen Iverson just dropped the freestyle and they was trying to ban him? Like they was actually trying to get him suspended from the league for rapping.
Yeah.
And then, Kobe had his opportunity to make the rap video with Tyra Banks. And, I think Dame is clearly one of the best all-time basketball players / rappers. And what I enjoyed about the battle, too, is because, both of these guys are reputable. Shaq, obviously one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Entertaining, still getting money, still caked up, and his rap credentials speak for himself. He's platinum, hit records, work with the best. Dame is, to me, he's everything that's right about the NBA right now. He plays hard. He's not trying to jump from team to team chasing rings. He wants to win a ring with the team he was drafted on. He plays the game. He excels, and so it's kind of hard to find flaws in each one of their characters or their resumes, but both of them really sat down and they dissected each other, and it was fun, man. I liked it a lot.
Okay, so what else we got going on this week? The breakup of Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner, which we shouldn't really care about, but was huge online, so I guess some people cared about it. Are you devastated? Are you upset?
I'm just I mean, this is not a new thing, but just really tired of fucking TMZ infiltrating our culture.
And getting shit wrong times too.
Yeah,
I'll never forget Chris Brown in the house and he's throwing guns out of the window with duffel bags with guns out of the window, and it was not happening.
They're making stories out of shit that's not true, and it's like they're not really being supportive. Again, like I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I just hate seeing about that type of stuff, like people in their personal business. But that's hip hop now.
It's mainstream, and the mainstream outlets are chasing it as fast as they can. And
Gucci
Mane and Gucci. How many years is that? Have you waited to see that, or at least Gucci sue Gucci Mane for using the name Gucci or some sort of thing? Like now all of a sudden, after 110 years, there's an actual collaboration. I didn't know if that was the most amazing thing I saw, or like you guys are so fucking late, or what to make of it, but it was bizarre.
But to answer the question, it's unfortunate if that's the situation. They got a child, and Travis is somebody who I have close friends who's like a big part of like his coming into the game or whatever. So as long as they happy, there's just a line that need to be drawn. Like, you see shit like, oh, this person broke up and this person owes taxes.
Would you say the same thing about the Kardashians infiltrating the culture? We just spent a bunch of time talking about Kanye. That is Kim. Now we're talking about Travis because of Kylie. I mean, she's not a Kardashian, but she's a Kardashian, right?
I'll say this. Maybe it might be better for the Travis Scott brand. Because I've seen a difference once he got involved with her, and I'm pretty sure that like their moms was giving advice here and there.
When
so
was she gonna start managing?
Hey, people not talking about that. That might have had something to do with this situation.
Yeah, we don't know.
I mean, it's always difficult to say, man. I remember doing an interview with T.I. maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and he's like, "Yeah, man, me and Tiny are broken up. This is the last of us. It's over," and they reconciled about 2-3 weeks later. So with relationships, it's difficult to say. They got a beautiful kid, Kylie and Travis,
Stormy, right?
they got a beautiful daughter together, and it's tough when you have a child with somebody and y'all have made a lot of money together and done so many things. Like sometimes you might not need to be around each other for a little while, but who's to say that they not gonna get back together? Then Tiger's thrown into the
Yeah, the Tiger.
situation.
I mean, Tiger's trending all night. Everyone's got her at the studio with Tiger. All of a
Tiger
sudden,
said
he's
it's
in the
cap.
mix. Yeah.
Tiger said what she's saying is cap.
Yeah.
She said that he was there. He was there. So it's interesting.
Shout out to Tiger.
Young love.
Taste.
All right. Well, all right. So we got a former member of SOBRBE arrested for murder. That's kind of a crazy story. Not too much about the case yet out there. Not even sure if there's too much to talk about it. It was Lil G, and hasn't been a member since 2018, right? But picked up for a murder case in I think it was Nevada. Any thoughts? Any knowledge? Anything?
I mean, this is a guy that was on the Black Panther soundtrack, and anytime you are that close to greatness as like Kendrick and some of the other big time artists that was on the soundtrack, and you got this contract with Def Jam.
Right.
I just want these guys just to be more cognizant of what they're doing. Like they just gotta know, and they you see it. It's so many headlines. It's not like you're the first rapper to get arrested for murder, or you're the first rapper to, and we don't know what he did. It's all
there's a lot of information not out yet.
We don't know the thing, but I mean, I just think in general, as artists, you're in such a good position that you just got to be so much more aware, cognizant. You got to be more careful of what you're doing. Like, you're not gonna win. It's a no-win situation when you're doing some of the things attached to the street life as a music industry person.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, again, it's no excuse, but I think it's a reflection of the times that we're in now. When you think about it, us being, the esteemed individuals that we are, covering the culture like for, the past couple of decades, who could really say that we've seen like this level of like artists, and especially like these new guys like getting into all this trouble like this. Like hip hop is hip hop, it's street shit, so it's associated with like that element where those things can happen easy. But you ain't just talking about guys getting pulled over for getting caught with weed in the car. It's like these guys have murder charges,
right?
And they have murder
lately,
charges,
right?
and artists are dying.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that,
yeah,
this is definitely at an all-time high as it's ever been. We
hadn't lost as many rappers
anytime.
That we had
right.
in the past couple of years. Sure. We hadn't had as big cases. They've happened, but it's YNW Melly in a double murder case, Kodak Black and his charges, TK and his charges. These are big cases.
Yeah,
and we've experienced some of that over the years, but maybe not so much back to back as much as it seems lately.
And
yes or no?
Yeah, I mean,
Tekashi.
These is young guys with like big cases, like super like, the Tekashi shit was a RICO case. They throw that on like the mob who's like 40, 50 plus years old.
You haven't been with us for the past 2 episodes because we've talked about this case.
Yeah, it's just, I think, and again, I think it's a sign of the times. Like, we go to these festivals and we see like these young kids, and they show up 1:00 in the afternoon, there till 11, going crazy over these artists and the shit that what these artists do to kind of feed into that. There has to be some type of responsibility at a certain point. You can't be having, within this culture right now, it looks a little shaky. You can't be having all these guys with like cases, like big cases.
But then on
like
top
this.
of that, it's almost like if you have a YouTube channel and you've rapped before, and then you get caught up in a case, it's like rapper arrested for murder, rapper. But like anybody who has a YouTube page and rapped a little bit seems like they're labeled as a rapper every time a crime happens. And so it almost intensified. We're like, well, we don't know who that person is. You've never covered them. We've never covered them. They've got 5,000 followers, but they've identified as a rapper in whatever crime that they've done because they have a YouTube page or a SoundCloud account or something. So it seems like a lot of it gets dumped in that sometimes isn't even affiliated with hip hop, which makes it look like there's so much.
It's a sexy headline for the media that want to take advantage of the culture, that want to benefit off the culture. So it's always when you see rapper arrested, or especially for something like murder or guns, it's what they call clickbait, man. They want to, it's people that don't cover the culture that, as my brother was saying before, is, people that in the culture trying to cover the culture, but only when negativity happens.
All right, that's about it for the week. Anything else from you guys? Any thoughts on?
I'm looking forward to Travis' album.
Yeah.
To me, I think out the new generation, Travis is
Travis an entertainer.
the best. Yeah, he's the best live performer right now. To me, out of the new generation of guys that's coming up, and this new album, what I love what he's doing, he's capitalizing on everything. Like he's not just waiting, he's keeping his foot on the competition's neck. He just did the Astro World tour, which was a very fun tour. I don't know if you saw it, but he had like a roller coaster, and he's had fans on a roller coaster in the middle of the arena, and
just announced the festival.
Yeah, he just announced the festival, and he's coming off just people not even finished with Astro World yet. That's the thing. People still rocking to that, but he's trying to get that bread while it's there. And for a long time, when we talk about the top three out of the new guys, man, it's always been Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, the triple threat. But you got to put Travis up there now too, man. His popularity, and he's putting numbers on the board, and he's doing tours, man. Like, he might not be known for the lyrical spitting and stuff like that, like the bars, but as far as being the superstar, one of the top superstars, streaming shows,
he's a star.
doing.
Yeah. No, he definitely.
You gotta put him
title,
up there.
You
gotta put him.
Title.
You gotta put him as in the four. The big three gotta make way for number 4.
Yeah. And shout out to Rolling Loud. Just had Rolling Loud this past week in Oakland. Coming up in NYC. Shout out to Tarek. Those guys have continued to do like an amazing job.
Just expanding and
Yeah, we're pushing the culture for Hong Kong, end of the year, L.A., next year, Miami. Shout out to them. And we got a Cam album coming on the way, it looks like.
Yeah. Go
Killer.
figure. Computer's
before the end of the year. So shout out to Killer. Definitely looking forward to that.
Purple Haze too. Can't play around with that one.
All right, thank you. On to the next. Maybe next week will be a little bit more live.
Yes.
We'll see. Maybe not.